John Magaro, welcome to An Actor Despairs.
Thank you. It's good
Thanks
to
so
be
much
here.
for being here, man.
Yeah.
Man, it's so funny, to be honest, I think any actor, when you see someone that, plays the roles you think you're right for, at first you're kind of like, this motherfucker. But then I had the pleasure of meeting you so many years ago on My Soul to Take.
That's crazy.
And then, man, you're an incredible actor.
Thank you.
I really have enjoyed watching your career blossom, and all the things you've done have been so incredible. Not Fade Away, Carol, Overlord.
There's probably some shit in there, too.
Nah,
It's
man,
okay.
you're
It's okay.
you're so you make such defined choices, and a reoccurring theme on this podcast is what separates good acting from great acting, and good acting people can rely on personalities. But you make such nuanced and defined choices, and I love watching your character work. And then when The Big Short happened, I was so thrilled, man. It was like, yes, justice prevails.
Yeah. I mean, it's a tricky thing,
Yeah.
The Actor Despairs is a very good title for things because there's a lot of that in this journey that we do. But thank you very much.
Yeah, man. But you're in such a good rhythm now. War Machine, everything you've done, and First Cow. I just had the pleasure of watching that. I got a screener, and
Nice.
I loved what you did in that, man.
thank
It's
you.
is it Orion Lee?
Orion,
Yeah.
Orion.
You two had such awesome scenes together.
Yeah.
But before we dig in, I'd like to start at the beginning. You're an Akron boy, right?
I am, Cleveland, Akron. I grew up in Northeast Ohio until I was, I was there until I went off to school, to college. So
How was growing up there?
Ohio's an interesting place to grow up. Where are you from? Where'd
Richmond,
you
Virginia.
Richmond,
Yeah,
Virginia.
yeah.
Okay, so, it's different. There's not a lot of acting.
Yeah,
There's not much,
same thing.
Yeah, there's not much awareness for theater
Arts.
or arts or
Yeah.
stuff like that. I messed around doing it as a hobby as a kid. I'd do some community theater and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I always loved it. Back then, it's just because you're kind of a little brat who's looking for attention, and it's a good way for people to look at you. And even if you're annoying them, there's a reason that they're supposed to be looking,
Yeah.
So my parents found that was a good outlet for me to get me off their back a little bit.
I love
and not
it.
fight with my brother. I did it there, as well as I had other hobbies and activities and stuff like that.
So you were in drama classes.
Yeah. I would
Yeah.
do. I start. It kind of start. I was a handful as a kid.
Yeah. I think we all are.
Well, my brother
Yeah.
wasn't. My brother, he's older than me. He's
Yeah.
4 years older than me, and he was
Yeah.
very straight laced
Yeah.
and the golden child, and I was a little terror. And one of our neighbors suggested putting me in dance class because that was sort of what there was around where I was at. And my mother was like, "Okay, I'm gonna do that. Maybe I'll make him get rid of some of this excess energy." And I was terrible at dance.
Oh, me too, man.
Yes, but I there was something about the performing, and I enjoyed that. And then I had a friend who's in Cub Scouts with me, who's doing a community theater show, and I was like, I want to try and do that. So I did it, and I would do it maybe once a year, like the local show, and it was a good way to pass my time, and then it was time to decide what you were going to do as an adult, or what you wanted to do as an adult.
Totally.
And my stubbornness, I was like, I want to pursue acting.
Yeah.
But I didn't, I had no understanding. And film was, that might as well have been me trying to go to Mars or something.
Totally.
It was so alien to me. I had watched films, but I had no comprehension of how you would act in film, or how you even got a job acting in film. So I went to school at the school called Point Park in Pittsburgh, and I studied theater there. And I had 4 years to really immerse myself and gain an appreciation for the craft and for all that kind of cliched stuff we say as actors.
Was that a good experience?
You know, the best part of it was it gave me a chance to like read all these great plays
that you wouldn't have
and watch all these great movies, which I hadn't seen. And Pittsburgh, which is a wonderful regional theater town. You have a lot of
and there's a lot of films that oddly shoot there.
When I was there, it wasn't so much.
Yeah,
it's become more and more. But you had a lot of great actors come into Pittsburgh and work at the local theaters there.
Yeah.
I remember seeing a friend of mine and who I think is one of the finest actors working, a guy named Ray Anthony Thomas.
Yeah.
Do Susan Laurie Parks play called Top Dog Underdog
with
Billy Porter. By the way,
no way.
Yeah, it was him and Billy Porter in that. And
where did they do that?
At the City Theater in Pittsburgh, and I was blown away by Ray. And then the year after that, we had the chance to work together at the City Theater on another play.
Yeah.
So that was great. I also got the chance to do an original Adam Rapp play while I was there called Gompers, with his brother was in.
Wow.
So I was really lucky. So I found that to be almost more valuable.
Totally.
Because class is a lot of theory and a lot of stuff.
So
like,
did they make you take like general classes?
Yeah,
as well?
Yeah. Like most theater programs, like most BFA
Yeah.
programs in a liberal arts school, there's a lot of stuff.
Totally.
You know, they sort of give you like a big bag, and you can sort of pick and choose what you want to go with.
Totally.
But I liked it. I'm sure my father would have preferred me, studying law or political science or something like that.
Were they supportive though? Like, did they see the passion?
They let me do it.
Yeah.
I'm sure they were worried.
Of course.
They were very worried.
Yeah.
But they let me do it. They were okay with that. And it's tough at first, especially. So then after that, I moved to New York, and it's very tough when you first get here.
And if you don't mind breaking that down, because I talked to so many actors on this podcast, like, what made you decide to go to New York versus L.A.?
I don't know. I had some family here. My brother was here. It was closer to where I grew up. And like I said, I really just didn't have this... I thought, maybe I would be lucky enough to work in regional theater.
Yeah.
And that sort of would be my career.
So you had
path.
kind of like a theater dream. That's what you saw.
Yeah, because that's all I knew.
Yeah.
That's all I knew. I knew theater.
Yeah.
That was what I saw myself doing.
Totally.
I didn't see myself doing film because I just had no... Like, I took an acting for the camera class my senior year at school, and I remember being terrible in it. Like, I was just terrible.
Such a different medium.
Because you don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people, you think you have to do it so differently than what you know. But I believe at the heart of it, it's all just acting.
Yeah.
I don't really subscribe to this idea that you have to do it differently for theater, film, or TV.
Yeah.
I think it all should be honest. It should all be connected.
I agree 100%.
So I came here, and then I just sort of fell into film.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you were able to get an agent right away? Or?
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to get, we had a showcase.
Oh, you did at your school?
Yeah, we had a show. We came here. We did a showcase in New York.
That's amazing.
And
I went to NYU. They don't even do showcases.
They don't?
No.
I thought they did.
Fuck no.
Really?
They're like, here's $250,000 debt. Go enjoy your life.
Are you kidding me?
No, I kid you not, man.
Oh my God! I thought they did.
My only friend who had an agent was Rachel Brosnahan, who
Oh my God!
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, we did a showcase, and I was signed by an agency here. That also probably helped facilitate the move because I knew I had representation here.
Yeah.
And I was doing commercials at first, you know, and then some regional gigs. I would go to EPAs, because I was lucky enough also to get my equity card while I was in Pittsburgh.
School. Wow.
Yeah,
because you were doing original plays. And,
but I would, wake up at 7 a.m, go to the equity office on in Midtown and go and audition for something that you knew you weren't going to get.
Yeah.
But just so you could get in front of a casting director. And those relationships actually have paid off.
Yeah.
They
you did Illyria at the Public. And
But one of the first things I did when I got here, play-wise, was a regional play called The Sunken Living Room that played in New Orleans and in Miami.
Cool.
That was postponed because of Hurricane Katrina.
Wow.
We were supposed to go down there. I think we were supposed to go in September.
Yeah.
And then the hurricane hit, and it was like, no, we're not doing a play. You know, obviously, like the whole city was destroyed. So that was postponed, and then a theater in Miami took it, and we did it there. And then a year later, we were able to go to New Orleans. But that came about because I had gone into EPAs, and the casting director saw me. And
Totally.
I was with Jim Carnahan's people, and then from that other people. So it was always just like a build. It was like a climb. Kind of.
Like a snowball effect.
In a sense. Yeah. I think of it more as like a ladder.
Got it.
But it was like one rung led to the next kind of rung, and then just keep going.
As you transitioned into film and TV, you kind of started finding yourself doing horror films. Like you had Richard Kelly's Box and Wes Craven's My Soul to Take.
Yeah, it was weird. You know, I'm. So like I did some commercials. I did like a Verizon commercial, a Singular commercial when Singular still existed, and stuff like that. And then the first film I actually did was a Neil Jordan film, called The Brave One with Jodie Foster and Terrence Howard, where I was an NYU kid who was like a little pothead who witnesses Jodie Foster have this act of being a vigilante, and he sort of not rats her out, but he helps the cops figure out who did it. But that I just went into the audition and I met with Neil Jordan. You know, it was probably a role they could have cast almost anyone in. You know,
oh man,
well, you know, but like it was like, but that was it. I did that, and then I think, I don't know how I fell into like the horror stuff for a little bit there. It just. I guess when you're that age, there's a lot of that kind of stuff happening.
Hollywood likes to see you do one thing really well, and then they just assume to keep doing that. Sometimes.
Well, I don't know. Maybe there was more of that going on back then. I'm not really sure how that all came about. I also imagine it was because I was still utterly insecure in front of the camera, so it made me look just like a creep. So I bet that they're like, wow, this guy's really creepy, and it's like me. Meanwhile, just being like, what the fuck am I doing here? And that did that. But then the progression is sort of, I think for most actors, or anyone, is like you sort of play where you are in your life.
Yeah.
You know, it was like that high school kids and that kind of stuff, and then soldiers, and then like people in business,
rock stars, not fade away.
Yeah, but like a young wannabe rock star. Yeah. And you know, you just kind of go with where it takes you.
Yeah. Man, that's amazing. And then so when you kind of started building those credits here, did you have an idea once you started having, let's say, leverage, so to speak, about how to tactically kind of move in different directions, or were you still kind of just taking what came your way?
I don't know if it was like a tactical decision. It was more. It's more like I find it hard to motivate myself to want to go in or like attempt to get something that I don't have a connection with.
Totally.
I have to it's really hard for me to muster up the energy to go out for something that I don't have some sort of belief in.
Totally.
And I think I think the casting people see through that. I think the directors, I think they see that if you're going in for something and you don't have your heart in it, I think they can sense that.
Right.
Not to say you have to be like, please God cast me. I love this so much. Yeah. It's just like almost like an intangible kind of thing.
Totally.
But it just so happens. Maybe it's like subconscious that you just sort of float in this direction, and then you sort of float in that direction. But it's been very fortunate to do that. I like that I've had variety in the kind of stuff I've done.
Yeah, my dream, and so many actors' dream career, you know.
Everyone is all. I think that's also basic human nature. Is like the grass is greener in a sense.
True, of course.
You know, like you said at the beginning, you're like, you watch people and you're like, why am I not? I mean, I still feel that way.
Yeah, totally.
I'm sure, like even the biggest actors still feel.
Of course.
Like, I'm sure, like, you know, whatever, who's like, you know, like a Leonardo DiCaprio watches Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yeah.
Like, Daniel Day-Lewis watches someone else.
Totally.
Like, why am I? You know, I think there's just
It's part of.
Well, it's the hunger. It's part of the hunger that keeps you going, which you gotta have to do this. Otherwise, you're gonna go crazy, or you're just gonna burn out.
Yeah. And I'm not just saying this, but like, man, you really are such an incredible performer. And like, when I see, you know, like, I didn't know you that well. We just hung out one night, but I was like,
that's so crazy.
Yeah, it is so. But like, I remember you were such a nice guy, and it was like, there was that.
Was I very drunk too? Probably.
Not really.
No, I wasn't. I hide it well.
It was what was that actor's name? He died.
Oh, Nick.
Yeah,
Nick.
Yeah, great guy. But I remember just watching you then, like, I saw the character, and I didn't see John, and that is always the testament to me of great acting. And then I'm kind of curious, because this is a reoccurring theme I talk about on this podcast, is like, when do you feel like you started to find your voice as an artist?
I'd say it was about 10 years in, really, that I started to finally feel comfortable in front of a camera and feel. And I'm saying that I'm still learning. You know, it's still constantly changing and evolving as I do it more and more. But I think I've heard this before from other people, but like, it takes about 10 years to really feel like, you know, your skill or your trade.
Yeah.
Like, whether you're an accountant or whether you're a teacher, doctor, whatever. And I felt about 10 years in as an actor, I finally started to feel comfortable and like I had a handle on kind of what was going on a little bit more.
Totally.
I don't, you know, obviously I'm sure that's not the same for everyone, but
no, of course.
For me, it took time.
Yeah.
It took time to feel comfortable. I mean, those first years, I really felt like, you know, like somebody who wasn't invited to the party, who like was brought along and like didn't quite belong there.
Right.
You know? And that's a terrible thing to feel. And that's even when I was having success, I felt that way. So, you know, when I was able to let that go and just sort of do my job and not worry so much about that, it made things much just healthier and better for me, you know.
That's great.
Yeah.
And when you started having these film and TV successes, was it imperative to you to get back to the theater? Or
I don't know if it was imperative, but it was. I wanted to go back.
Yeah,
I still like to go back. It's hard. It's a big commitment.
Less money.
Yeah. It's hard. But I enjoy going back. You know, I don't know if I like would go to if I ever went to my agents. It's like, you got to get me I really need to do a play right now. I've sort of always tried to trust where it goes, and I was lucky enough that after I'd done a few movies, like a play came along that I got, and then, you know, I did a few more, and then another play. So it tends to be, for me, every few years or so, I get to go back to the theater. I feel like I'm about due. Maybe I should go back soon. It's been about 3 years. Okay. 3 years since I've been in the theater, I want to say. And I miss it. But it is tough. It's exhausting, and it's a lot of, you know, it's a lot of work and a different kind of endurance than film.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
And then when something like the Big Short comes your way, what was that like? I mean, to go with, you know, literally the top 5 biggest actors in the world.
I mean, that was like it was a dream.
It was
a dream. It was a dream job in so many senses of the word, and the success that it had was unlike anything I'd been a part of.
Yeah.
It really,
and that was like Adam's first real kind of serious piece. Because he was more Funny or Die, Will Ferrell's buddy, right? You know?
Yeah, I mean, that was his first kind of, even though it's comedic, it was his first more straightforward drama comedy type thing. And with those actors involved.
And your scenes are always with Brad Pitt. I mean.
Yeah, and you know, I think a lot of that, I don't know exactly how I got that role. But I believe there is like the relationships you make and the work you do plays into the opportunities that come later.
Yeah.
I had auditioned for the casting director, Francine Maisler, a few times. She had cast me in a role in Captain Phillips that ended up on the cutting room floor.
Oh, wow.
Which also Scott Rudin produced, who produces First Cow, as well as the front page, which I did on Broadway.
Amazing.
And so I had that relationship. I think that helped. And I had just worked with Brad's wife at the time, Angelina Jolie, in Unbroken.
Yeah, that's right.
And we had a very good time together on set, as well as my co-actor on Big Short, Finn. Whitrock.
I love Finn.
So I have a feeling that helped.
Yeah.
Because Brad was producing, so they could sort of vouch for us in a way. Because it was a lot of responsibility. We had a significant workload in that, and for two young actors who were a bit unproven, that was a big.
And you're such a big part of that film.
Yeah, it's a big responsibility.
Well, I think also just as the audience a lot of those stockbrokers were kind of like, fuck those motherfuckers, but like your guys are the ones we all sympathize with. Because you're the underdog. You come in and these people laugh you off, and then you're like, wait, we're gonna make it happen. And then you guys are the heroes of that film.
Yeah,
or at least in my
So then, when it came along, I really, really wanted to be a part of it. We did a couple auditions. I sent it some tapes, and then eventually I went out and did a chemistry read with Finn, and it worked out. And we were so excited to be a part of it. We forged a great friendship from that, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
it was a fun movie to be a part of.
Was it fun working with Brad? I mean,
I've gotten to work with him a couple times now.
Yeah, he must he brought you on for War Machine, right?
Yeah, so we've worked a couple times together. I really enjoy working with him. He's a fantastic actor.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that he's had the year he had.
Oh, me too.
I mean, he really deserves it. And he did such great work.
He's one of those few that's like a character actor in a leading man's
he
body.
He really
you
is.
You motherfucker, you have it all.
He really is. I mean, he is a character actor, and the stuff he's been doing recently is just tremendous. And getting to watch, like in the most pure sense of the word, movie star.
Yeah.
Getting to watch a movie star work and be so committed and show up every day on point has been really, educational and something that you want to emulate when you go on set with other younger actors too.
Totally.
So it was fun. That was a fun one.
That's amazing. And then when that film kind of obviously had the huge success that it did that open a lot of doors for you for other projects?
I don't know. It's hard to say. It's hard to say if like that's the one that opened a door or if it's other things.
A logical progression of
I don't know. I think it's like the more you work,
the
more people have seen you. If you do good work, the more people see you in things, and like those things, it makes them feel a sense of trust because they know they have a sense that you're not going to like drop the ball,
right?
Maybe. So like anything, any job, it's like the more you do and the more you have on your resume, credentials you have, it's going to help you kind of onto the next thing. And obviously in success, it helps even more.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've ever had anyone since The Big Short come up to me and be like, as far as people who have worked with or cast me, be like, well, we're casting you because of The Big Short.
That makes total sense.
Yeah. Maybe they have,
yeah,
but I just am unaware of that.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, I want to talk about First Cow. How did this come your way?
Yeah, so again, like the progression of things, Kelly is very close with Todd Haynes, who I did Carol for.
Yeah, love Carol.
They're great friends. So, the way it seems is your name gets brought up in a room, and the director, looks at all these people who have been brought up, their work a little bit, and the ones that they feel some sort of connection or are intrigued by, then they investigate a little bit more.
Yeah.
That's kind of what happened. Then I was given the script, and I love her work, and I loved the script, so I wanted to be a part of it, but what really pushed it over the edge was I had done this short film called The One-Armed Man, which is based on a Horton Foote play.
Wow.
It's part of a Horton Foote kind of anthology.
Yeah.
This director, Tim Guinea, who's also an actor, great actor, directed it. And set in the early 1900s. So these cotton, these cotton fields, this cotton mill. And this guy loses his arm in one of the cotton gins or grinders or whatever. Yeah. And he's very soft-spoken, and he's very introverted, but he's a little bit more, he's much more violent underneath than Cookie is. But I think Kelly saw that, and she was really like, okay, he can do this. He's our Cookie. And she I mean, we did a little Skype meeting and stuff, and from that we did it.
Yeah, it's such an incredible film. And I mean, going back to that time, I grew up in Virginia, so I'm such a Civil War and Revolutionary War.
Really?
All that.
Are you outdoorsy and stuff?
Not really. I mean, I've lived in New York 12 years now, but I'm sure I'll go walk Runyon in LA or something. Yeah. But
outdoorsy that is, but sure.
I've never hunted or never made cakes and whatever.
In a cat, I don't know. Yeah, sure. But it's an interesting story. I mean, she always is telling interesting stories and kind of giving a voice to things that a lot of filmmakers aren't focused on.
Yeah. And the chemistry that you and Orion, it was just awesome. Seeing that story. Where did you guys shoot that?
We were mainly in Portland, in and around Portland.
Okay, cool.
So we were staying in Portland, and the good thing about the Pacific Northwest is you have all such beautiful scenery so close to the city. So, you drive 20 minutes outside the city, and you're in these lush forests that are untouched for centuries. So it was just, which is nice because we were shooting in the world that this actually took place, which you don't often get to do. I mean, it's an Oregon movie, and we were shooting in Oregon. Yeah.
Was that your real beard?
That was my real beard.
I'm so jealous.
What, you can't grow a beard?
I got like a Mexi stash going on. I can only grow the porn star, I'd give anything to have that beard, man.
Yeah, that's one thing I have. I grow a beard pretty quick. That was about 2 months growth.
Yeah.
2 months growth. It drove my wife crazy.
And then, on some of the other different tonal projects you've done, like Umbrella Academy and things like that, what's your experience been like as an actor when, tonally, you have such a different shift? Do you kind of try to find yourself in that tone of the world? Do you work with, a coach? Or
I do work with a coach. I don't try and focus on the tone.
Got it.
I don't want to really think about the tone. I sort of let the writing guide me, and usually it's there, and if you just play the situation, it will come out. Yeah. If you let it be subconscious or underneath, it will naturally just come out. My coach is actually, there was a great teacher guru named Harold Guskin. Do you know Harold Guskin?
I don't think I do.
He had a book called How to Stop Acting that came out. He coached a lot of the great people. Jim Gandolfini worked with him, Glenn Close, Kevin Kline.
You got to work with him on Not Fade Away, right?
Yeah. And I actually worked with Jim before on a movie that Harold directed.
Wow.
So we had done that a long time ago. And from that, I developed this relationship with Harold, who has since passed away. And now I work with his wife, who has sort of taken the torch from him.
Wow.
Her name's Sandra Jennings. She's fantastic. But at the heart of it is really just as simple listening and responding. It cuts to the chase. It's very simple and direct way of working, and I find it the style that works best for me.
That's amazing. Then can you talk about what you're about to do next at all?
What I'm about to do? I'll talk about what I just did.
Okay.
I just did, I'm part of the new Sopranos movie, so I get to team up with David Chase again. We work together on Not Fade Away.
What is it, Newark or Sin City?
Many Saints of Newark.
Yeah, Many Saints of Newark.
It'll come out in the fall. And I did another...
Did you work with Bernthal?
Yeah, Bernthal.
Yeah, he's doing this.
We were all there. It was it's a tremendous cast.
Yeah.
And Jim's son, Michael Gandolfini.
Yeah, Michael Gandolfini.
He's a wonderful young actor.
Yeah.
And then I just did another film called Lansky about Meyer Lansky that we
No
were shooting,
way.
where I play Harvey Keitel and myself split the responsibilities. He's
Lucky Luciano?
no, Lansky. So Meyer Lansky was like Ben Kingsley played him in Bugsy.
Yeah.
And he's been portrayed. I think they did a TV movie where Dreyfuss played him, but this is his kind of life, and I play him in the 1920s to 40s, and Harvey's him in the 70s and 80s.
Oh, the older version of him.
So
got it.
We just did that.
I just had Glenn Flesher on, who played George Remus on.
Yeah. He's a fantastic actor.
Yeah,
Glenn.
I love Glenn.
Yeah, he's brilliant. I'd love to work with him.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been working on. And a couple other things coming up too, and just trying to keep busy.
Yeah,
pay
man.
the bills.
I'm curious. I've talked to some actors about this on the show. And in this kind of world we live in now, where it's like so many of the movies are these like, theme park adventure rides, and then there's television, and kind of the middle ground is the occasional coup of a Parasite or an NYU student film. Where do you kind of find yourself on the spectrum? Like, are you going in for those kind of huge Marvel type things, or?
Not particularly, and that's not by design.
Yeah.
That's just how it goes.
Yeah.
I don't. There are many roles for guys like me in Marvel films.
You could be great Peter Parker.
I think I'm a little too old for Peter, unless they do an old version where he's like, sort of like all of a sudden his sciatica's acting up. I don't think I'll be getting a call from Sony about that anytime soon. I don't know. I guess I would say I'd live somewhere in between.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty open. If it's good material, I'm intrigued, whether it's big budget or small budget.
It's the script that you care.
It's primarily the script.
Yeah.
There can be other factors, and it's nice to make money, obviously, and but it's also nice to be a part of something that's special. I mean, First Cow's a good example. Not a big budget. No one made a lot of money doing it.
Yeah.
But it was a chance to work with some really brilliant artists, and like for me, a big part of it is just keeping working, keeping active. I like that.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like my Midwest mentality.
No,
or whatever.
you're very humble, and I love that about you.
Yeah, I mean, it is. It's just I need to keep going. I need to keep going, otherwise I'll go crazy.
Totally, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm curious. Like now, where you are, when you kind of left, Pittsburgh and came here, did you have an idea of like what success would be to you, or?
I think that's the ever-changing thing.
Totally.
I think that's constantly evolving. Like I said, like the idea of being a regional theater actor was, when I graduated, that was sort of the idea of success. As you do it more and more, it changes, and I think that's a good thing, because if you sort of like say to yourself, this is what's success to me, and you hit that, and there's nowhere to go.
Yeah.
So I think it's okay for it to evolve for you as an actor, and whether that even means like changing for you, like being like, maybe I don't want to be an actor, maybe I want to be a producer, maybe I want to write about it, maybe like there's so many things in this art and in this business to do that the goals can change. And even for me, like the idea of directing, the idea of producing, that's now becoming something that I'm more and more interested in.
Yeah.
So I think that's good. Not resting on your laurels and not just sort of hanging up your hat and being like, okay, this is good enough.
Totally.
Yeah.
And then for the actors out there that are listening, what kind of lessons do you feel like, if you could go back in time and tell 18-year-old John, I know that's such a broad and intense question, but any pieces of advice for those, people like you and I that didn't grow up in LA or New York and whose parents aren't in the business and they have to figure this thing out for themselves?
Yeah.
Any words of wisdom?
I think one of the most important things to remember as an actor is to be yourself. Be comfortable in who you are, because that's special. Too often young actors are trying to be something else, and there's nothing more that I hated. I remember this a lot when I was first starting out. You would get a breakdown, and it would be like, who was like, I get Tobey Maguire was big back then, and it'd be like looking for like a Tobey Maguire type.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's the worst thing you can put on a casting breakdown, because most actors, especially young actors, are going to read that and just try and be like Tobey Maguire.
Totally.
It's like, if you want Tobey Maguire, then go get Tobey
Yeah.
Maguire. And if that's what you want, then don't write it, because someone's going to come in who might be like it, and you'll be surprised.
It's going to be an impersonation, not an audition.
But yeah, you don't want
yeah.
people. So oftentimes as a young actor, you feel like you have to. You see what's working, you see who's successful, and you feel like you have to emulate that somehow. And that's not it at all.
Yeah.
What you uniquely have to bring to it is what's going to lead to your success.
Totally.
Because that's going to be something special and unique. So I would say trust your own instincts, trust who you are, and embrace that and go for it.
Yeah. And then for, this is another kind of tough one, but what do you think has led to some of your better auditions? Like what you worked with, is her name Heidi? Sandra, yeah.
A lot of times we don't work on auditions. We tend to work when I'm getting ready to go work.
Got it.
An audition, I think the best thing you can do is be as relaxed and comfortable as possible. Oftentimes we're told this is your time, like you're in front of them, it's your time. That's a really hard thing to. It's easier said than done.
Yeah.
You get in that room and the nerves kick in, and you're like, I got to pay my rent. I need a job. Someone hire me. And then you are terrible. So it's like trying to get out of your own way in a sense is good. And I think there's a lot more opportunity for that nowadays because so many auditions are on tape.
Yeah.
What I find helpful now is to get a couple friends together and do a tape, because then I feel comfortable.
Right.
You
got a team that you read with.
People I feel comfortable tossing ideas, and also just that I feel like I don't feel like stiff, and I feel like okay trying something different, and also you can do as many times as you want and decide which one you want to send. Whereas in a casting, you a lot of times get one shot.
Yeah.
And you're in and you're out and you feel like a jerk.
Totally.
But in those situations, I would say just try and be as calm as you can. I know that's hard.
Yeah.
And just relax. You just got to relax, kind of.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And what's inspiring you, right now when you film, theater, TV? Is there anything that's like blown your mind recently that you've seen?
I mean, Parasite was really impressive.
Yeah.
That was really, really impressive. I like that a lot. So, I mean, I'm glad it won. I think that was a much deserved win.
Yeah.
And it's also exciting because it's opening up a whole new world.
I totally agree.
For film. So that's a really exciting thing. Otherwise, I don't know. Yeah. I'll just stick with that.
Okay.
Yeah, let's stick with that.
I love that, man.
Yeah.
And any other things next that you can talk about, in the projects that are already in the can, or?
Just that, and just those two. I think just those two. Yeah, just those two. And then First Cow. People should go see First Cow.
Yeah, I'm going to premiere this on Friday.
Yeah.
So this podcast will air on the day the movie is released.
Okay. So here in the city, I think it's at like the Angelica and Lincoln Square. And then I imagine it will come out throughout the rest of the country over the next few weeks.
Are they doing limited run throughout the U.S.? Okay.
Yeah, I can't imagine it will be in many theaters. It's
Oh,
not that
it's
type
great.
of movie, but it will be in your local art house theater, I think. But
Which are the best theaters?
Yeah. So that's that's what I'm doing, and then just living life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, man, I am so grateful for you being here.
That's
You're
great.
such an exceptional actor.
Oh, thank you.
And I feel like you're just metaphorically like you're in the canon and you're about to be launched out of the stratosphere, and I'm so excited because
sometimes it feels a little bit jammed. So maybe get that guy with the stick.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna
push
do that
it down
for you
a little bit more.
Put a little more fuse on it.
Yeah, a little more gunpowder maybe.
But man, you're such an amazing performer, and thank you for what you do because. You're inspiring the next generation, man. All your work is just so incredible, and it's so great to watch justice prevail. And you're so nuanced, man. you got it. You know.
Thank you.
I'm really looking forward to
Say
it.
more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That shirt you wore today.
Right.
Your eyes.
No, thank you so much. It's
No,
nice.
man, I'm so grateful for all that you've done, and I love watching you work, and I'm so glad that the audience got a chance to get to know you a little bit better. And next project, I'd love to have you come back.
Yeah, sure. I'd be happy to come back. This is great.
Hey, John Magaro, thanks so much for being here, man. And dude, to be continued.
All right, thank you.
Brother.
Yep.